Scooter Hairy Man on the inside. Today is number 3 video in a series of sharpening videos. The other 2 were in the shop. I believe the second one was a little bit of I have to sharpen things in the office. I believe we used a coffee cup and a leather belt, things like that. In the first one, the shop, we just used shop tools. This one is going to be, I fell out of the plane, gracefully fell to the earth, and this is all I have on me. And I gotta sharpen my knife. So, right off the bat, you should have had this on you already. Private plane, no commercial plane, so you gotta have had this with you. I got my bushcrafter, my leather sheath, my fire steel, and maybe 20 foot of paracord. The 2 hardest things to emulate in the woods: tools and cordage. Not impossible, but a pain in the butt to come up with if you have to. So this is typically on me when I hit the woods. Now this is going to be a sharpening video. I'll give you a couple minutes here of some other stuff, just mainly what's on the sheath here. This fire steel is a 3/8 rod, and this is a bungee, because it fits real nice in this leather when it's new. All right, as you wear this thing down, it's going to get looser and looser in the leather, so this bungee will keep it from falling out on you. That's why I got that on there. Also notice this is a little bit brighter of a color than just the black, so hopefully when I drop this thing, I'll be able to find it again. One more thing about the fire steel, I see a lot of people scraping the fire steel and then they turn it and then they scrape it again and turn it and scrape it again. Don't do that. Always scrape it in the same spot, so that as you use this, the fire steel will get flatter, but the part that you're scraping will get wider. You'll get more sparks. So as this thing breaks in and gets worn down, it'll work for you even better. Here's an example. Let's pretend our tinder bundle was right here. I also see people holding the fire steel and moving the knife. Try not to do that, because you have a tendency to hit and aim the sparks of the knife, hit your tinder bundle, and now it scatters all over. Now you got to start over again. Hold the knives in one spot, all right, and pull up on the fire steel. Now this one's brand new. You can take a couple scrapes to get it going. Hold the knife in place, pull the fire steel. All right, okay. On with the sharpening. So let's say we are out in the woods and all we have on us is what we had on us. I'm not cheating by bringing anything extra. This is a rock I literally found up in front of the knife shop on the ground. There's my dull bushcrafter and my sheath. That's all I got. I have often told people, when you're sharpening at home, that's one thing. You can take your time, you can do a really nice job. You can do both sides of the knife, make it look even, because you're going to show your buddy, look what I sharpen, you know, stuff like that. When you're in a knife shop or another shop that you got access to tools, same thing. Take your time, do a good job. We're in the woods. This could be a serious life or death scenario. We are not concerned at all about what this knife looks like when we're done. We just need a sharp tool. We're not even going to sharpen, really, both sides of this knife. It was already sharpened, obviously from the factory, nice and even. And if we sharpen it, we're out here for 4 weeks, and it ends up being a little bit like that, don't care. Don't care one bit. So we're only going to get a burr on one side. Remember in the other videos I was telling you, your dull knife is like this. We need to get a burr, and then we need to strop that burr off with a piece of leather or some such. I think I showed you how to use money. We use a few other things. Today we are going to use leather because we're out in the woods and I happen to have some leather here. But you can see this wee little rock I found. Kind of round on the back, that's our handle, and kind of flat on this side. That is going to be our sharpening surface. And you can see quite the difference here. Now I got to take my glasses off so I can see up close because I'm old. And that's the way my eyes work. You could take some time, take a piece of wood, notch something out, stick that in there. I did want to do that for the video, mainly because I don't have time. I got to get some knife sharpened in the shop. So just going to hold this stone. And, oh, and also, I think you can maybe see some remnants on there because I was practicing a little bit. Remember the Sharpie marker trick from the other videos. You take a Sharpie marker, paint that sharpened edge on both sides to see where you're hitting when you are on a stone or a piece of leather or whatever. I do not have a Sharpie on me. I'm out in the woods. So hopefully by the time you get to this point, you will have sharpened your knife enough that you can feel the burr and know where you're at in the sharpening process. This should be a little easier because, like I said, we're only going to kind of sharpen one side. I'm going to put the burr on one side only. We're going to strop both sides, but only put a burr on one side just to go a little faster. Doesn't have to be like this. If your muscle memory for hitting a stone is the best like this because you're right-handed, you don't have to worry about teaching yourself how to do this in the woods. Consequently, if you do go this way, then only do it that way, all right? Then we can see we have our secondary edge, our sharpened edge on this flat grind knife. And instead of thinking about taking long strokes this way on a stone, since our sharpening stone is so small, we're going to mainly do things, let me get down here so I can steady it, this way, more north and south, let's say. And I can see that I'm going to start at my plunge line. I'm probably only going to get to there. Can you hear that a little bit, that scratching? Depending on what angle you hold your knife at, let's see if I can get it picked up here. You hear how that's kind of quiet? And of course there's a plane overhead. This is a little noisier. That's because here's my rock, here's my knife. When it was really quiet, the knife was too low. And as you pick it up and get on that edge, it's going to get a little noisier. Now, if we were in a survival situation, there's a plane overhead, I'd have the SOS logs over there on fire right now. Forget this knife. Okay, I think he's gone. Okay, so I want a steady rest here. I want to listen for that noise. And I know I'm kind of only getting to there, so choke up a little. Can you hear that? It's almost like it's shaving a little bit of material off of that stone. Can you see that wee little puff of dust? I could see it a little bit happen a couple times. That black line forming on there. That is metal from the knife going into the stone. Just like if this was a sharpening stone or the bottom of your coffee cup because you're sharpening in the office and the zombies are coming. That's a little bit of metal. Choke up a little. Also, since it's making that line, that's telling me I got a fairly nice flat spot there. Choke up a little. The stone is getting metal in it. I can see it. I can hear when I'm up on that edge and see that there's no Sharpie marker right on the very edge. And I can see it from here because I got my glasses off. It looks pretty scratched up. There's no rule that says you can't keep one of them wee little hardware store Sharpies in your pocket and do what you got to do. That's legal. Okay, I've sharpened and I've made my burr on this edge. So now I should be able to take 3 fingers and pluck that. I can hear it. And I know that my metal now is like this. I can feel the burr on the edge of the knife. Now if I go the other way, my fingers slide right off because I'm taking my fingers and I'm going on this side and it's just sliding right off. Before I was taking my fingers this way and I'm feeling this edge. You can definitely feel it. Even though I have no Sharpie marker, you could make probably something with a little bit of mud and a little bit of water or spit and put something on there. I think after 2 swipes it would be gone. The Sharpie marker does work a little better. However, don't need it. It's a little tattletale. It's a helpful thing. Not 100% necessary because I can feel, come close, let me see if you can hear this. That's the burr side. That's the not burr side. You should be able to hear and feel this burr pretty good. And that didn't take long, despite the fact I threw the sharpening rock on the ground twice. Set that over there. This is the other important ingredient. We're not going to use this or this for sharpening, but notice this is one of our JRE Industries dangler sheaths. Okay, this running your belt through here so that the sheath can swing, handy. It's personal preference. I don't care for that myself. I think it moves around too much, especially in the shop. I don't want this thing swinging and catching on something. So I drop this down and I run my belt through the normal part, which now allows me to use this. See that little slot there? This is just a Chicago screw. I now have a bolted on strop. So normally, you know, if you run your belt through here and you carry your knife this way, I would say try and leave this bolt so that you can take it out later, but I wouldn't want you having it so loose that it came undone and you lost your knife. That would be horrible. So that's why, another reason I run the belt through here. Now if this bolt would come out, not a big deal. I could probably strop on this thing if I had to, or take my fire steel out and do the edge of this sheath. This is bigger, so I'm going to try and do this. You see, yeah, I got it loose. Now this does not come from the shop this way, this loose, right? It's way tighter. I have adjusted this so that I can do what I'm about to show you. Don't lose anything, because you never know what you might need in the woods. Would you need this little Chicago screw for something? You never know. Here's my leather strop. Let's rebend this a little bit. Ta-da! Now remember I did it on the leather belt on the edge of the workbench on the other video. I'm doing it on a log and just do the best we can. Now don't forget, burr on this side, smooth on this side. I'm going to try and use this small log and put the leather on there so that I have room over here for my handle, and so that I don't have to hold the knife at a weird angle to accommodate the handle. I want to make sure I'm hitting the blade where I want to. So I'm just going to hold this up a wee little bit. And you can see I'm only getting so far with it. We'll just move the knife down. By all means, strop it on both sides. That's no problem. Doesn't take long. The advantage of using this little belt piece is that, just like your belt you probably would be wearing, I now have two grits. This side is a lot smoother than the other side. You want to know the secret to knife making? Time and pressure. Whether you're working on the steel or the handle or sharpening, time and pressure. You can either press really hard and work on it for 8 seconds, or press very light and work on it for 5 minutes. Time and pressure, depending on the steel, depending on the handle. Are you in the shop? Are you in the woods? Those are the two things you have to learn how to control when you're making a knife. This is an excellent example. Time and pressure. I'm not pressing very hard. But if I had to sit here for 3 straight minutes and strop this thing to a razor's edge, I would. And I can. I do not feel a burr. That's good. Sometimes guys go, I don't feel burr, must not be sharp. No, it's probably back down to being a knife. Now there's a big difference between a serviceable edge and something you'd get right out of the box, right from LTWK. We're looking for a serviceable edge. Now if you want, again, if you want to sit here longer and strop and keep stropping, you know, the plane there's no plane coming yet, so keep stropping it, that's fine. If we need to process some game, or we need to make a shelter because the storm's coming, I can see it, let's get this thing a little sharper than it was, because I forgot to sharpen it before I left on my trip, something like that. So don't expect, you know, slicing through the U-line catalog like it did in the shop, necessarily here in the woods. But I guarantee this is a very serviceable edge. Let's see if she will cut some hair. A little bit. It's better than it was, that's for sure. Now if this doesn't work, or for some reason, it's very hard to hold a consistent angle when you're doing this on this little piece of wood or log, and it might rock a little bit, so you might have to put another burr on. That's okay. Notice I went back to the rough side of the leather. Looks consistent, looks pretty good. It's a little sharper right here on the curve. It's doing it. If this thing was really dull, it would not even do that no matter how hard you press. So I would say we have a serviceable edge. If it will cut some arm hair, it will most definitely baton through a log, help you build a shelter, help build the setup for your campfire, and something to hold a pot if you find a pot or something like that. It will do all of that. Will a process game? Probably not as efficient as when it was brand new, but you now have the facilities here to sharpen it. So process your game as much as possible. If you got to reburr it and restrop it, go for it. Again, don't worry about sharpening, putting a burr on both sides. Just do one side to get your burr a little faster. You want this, then strop it off. That's about it. Scooter here again. Now we are in a situation where we need to sharpen this knife, but we are in this urban environment. Same knife, except, hey, now I got a Sharpie marker. Remember how to do this, right? Color the sharpened edge. Do both sides. Okay. The top of a piece of glass on your car, all right, it's rough. It's got a little bit of abrasiveness to it. Similar to using a ceramic rod when you sharpen, you can use this. Same as back in the woods there with the little stone. I'm going to hold this on here at just a little bit of an angle. Alright, that was 3 hits. Now can you see that at the very edge there is no Sharpie marker? This is a convex edge, so it's got some curve to it. So does this. So I'm hitting a very narrow window of sharpening. So I'm not too worried about far up from the sharpened edge. I want the sharpened edge to get a burr. And that's what's going on here. Not pressing very hard. Similar to the rock in the creek. Yep, that's coming off. See that? You only got to worry about one side. Now, if you got some time, do both, but you know, I can feel that that has a burr. Let's strop it, see what we get. Okay, remember also in the other video in the shop we did the leather strop. Here is my belt on something nice and flat. We used the tailgate of this random pickup truck we found in the parking lot. Now I got my burr on this side. You know, sharpening here, I got the burr, so I'm going to do the side with the burr first. Now this one, since we have such a long, wait, I only took one swipe. Can you see that color change and see the drag mark of the steel there? That swath. That's another good little tattletale, that my steel is like this. Because I just dragged it along that leather and it discolored it and made a little scratch on it. Good tip. Always look and see what's going on here. Anyway, I was going to say, since we have a nice long strop, we don't have to worry about moving this way so much. Get nice long passes on the leather. Yep. And do the other side a little bit. Okay, and you can see the Sharpie marker is completely gone off that side. I got a little bit more to go on this side. Same as when you're using the little piece of leather from the sheath. You don't have to press super hard. Time and pressure. Don't forget, time and pressure. Missing here. This is why we use a Sharpie marker. Can you see? I'm missing the tip completely. So when I get toward the end, just need to change the angle just a little bit. Getting a little better. This knife has been sharpened a bunch of times. I think the steel is getting a little thick down at the end. Okay, just about there. That's letting up. That's Sharpie marker. If you're ever out in Arizona, look up a guy named Chris Wisdom. I hear he's pretty good at this. All right, let's see what we got here. I'd say it's a little sharper than out in the woods with our little piece of leather. I could have taken my belt off and used it there, but it's really important to try and have some kind of flat surface here to work on. That's a big part of it, so you can hold a consistent angle. Nothing under the leather is going to move on you, stuff like that. I could have taken my belt off up there. I was just trying to show you how to completely use this, because what if you don't have your belt? If you only had this in a pack, all gentlemen wear a leather belt though, right? So you should never be without your belt. Okay. So that's a little bit extra. Got your Sharpie marker on you. I use the glass on my car and the belt on the tailgate, nice flat work surface to sharpen in the urban environment. That's it. If you have any questions, leave them at the bottom of the video. Shoot me an email, scooter@ltwrightknives.com. Anything about sharpening or whatever you like. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.